Tom, great to have you here. How was your Easter break and what did you get up to?
Thanks for having me, Andy. Easter break was great, thank you. So went down to Lake Taupō on a little settlement called Hatapi on the eastern coast of the lake there. We spent some time fishing and teaching my friend George to water ski. On the first day we caught 3 trout, which was very exciting. And striked up to 4, and we actually had the elusive double strike. I'm not actually the most competent fisherman, so that's sort of quite a rarity for my fishing skill set, so it was very exciting. You're sort of looking for the deep orange, sort of darker colour, so that's what these trout were, so we whacked them in the smoker and yeah, had a great feed.
Pretty tough day out there for you, 3K threshold.
Yeah.
How'd the hands handle that?
Yeah, hands were okay. I did bring the gloves out on the boat with me, but thankfully I didn't need them today. But 3Ks is always a very hard session. Traditionally, I've always had sort of very soft hands. Considering I get a blister from fishing, I get bad blisters from rowing now, so maybe it's a genetic trait. So that session for me is building my threshold zone. So we've spent a lot of work early season building my base. So that's, for me, that's anywhere between 130 to 160 beats per minute heart rate zone, and that's called your U3 zone. So if you imagine that's the bottom of the pyramid, and then we're slowly working our way up the pyramid. So we're about 3/4 of the way up now in the threshold zone. So I think that's anywhere between 170 to 190 beats per minute. It's a tough session, 40 minutes. You bank more of those, then it means your top end, which is your anaerobic work. So that's your sprint, 500 meters or 2,000 meters even. The more threshold work you do, the higher your intensity work can be. So I'm very fortunate to have the women's double as a training partner, women's heavy and lightweight double, and they're very, very good, especially at those threshold pieces. So it's always a challenge to try and beat them on the prognostic sheet. So I think they got me today, but as the season progresses, I'm sure we'll have some good battles.
Do you look at yourself when you're rowing? I mean, I presume people video you and you have a look at that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we do. So a typical session would be I'd go out, train on the water, and Gary, my coach, would be giving me feedback as the row goes on, and then he'll also take some footage along the way. And the beauty of me looking at the footage at the end of the row is I can associate his feedback with a physical movement that I'm doing. And then also if I'm trying to make a technical change, it's important that I understand what it feels like on the water. Obviously I can't see myself in real time, so I'll sort of take a mental note of what I'm experiencing and then look at it after the fact and sort of just try to connect the dots in that way.
What's the one thing you love about the way you row?
I think it looks pretty smooth, so I'm not a massive guy in the scheme of single scullers, so I try to be as efficient as possible, and I sort of value that about the way I row. I take a lot of the boat on my shoulders sometimes, so that's always been a work on keeping it all nice and low. So a tell for me is when I get a bit tired, you'll see I'll start sort of rowing like this, but if I'm feeling good, I'll be keeping it nice and low in the lats and in the hips. Just mentally say, keep it low, keep it relaxed, don't get too tense, would be the triggers for me to help execute on that change. What I'm learning in the sport is that to be competitive, it's about going as fast as possible for as little work as possible, which obviously sounds simple, but it's a bit harder when you're out there and you've got a lot of competition to your left and right. So for me, staying relaxed and conserving energy and being efficient is kind of the gold standard. It's something that I'm aiming for.
So looking forward to the European regattas coming up?
Yeah, I am, yeah. So they'll sort of be a litmus test for me, a yardstick to see how I'm tracking against the competition. So it'll be important to get some good runs on the board there, but the main priority is the regatta after that. But these are important stepping stones to do.
Got any trout fishing planned for overseas?
Not yet, but maybe I'll need to look into getting a tour guide. I'm sure there's some good fish in the Alps of Switzerland maybe, but we probably won't get the time off, so maybe that'll be after the campaign.